Hello, everybody. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Nick. Welcome to class today. Today's Thursday, May 28th, 2020. An A day at Meriden High School. Okay. Sorry for the late start. I was trying to find this video for you guys, and I have the link to it, but I don't have the ability to download it. I'm going to see if it's available out there anyway. It's a nice little funny example of some stuff that I wanted to talk about today as we kind of get into our final project. And this one took a little while to develop, and I want to thank you for understanding about Tuesday's class. I'm hoping you saw the message that I put up on Classroom. It needed a little bit more time in the oven to flesh out in a way that I was hoping to be meaningful and interesting. But you know, the other half of that honesty is that since Monday of last week, I've just been swamped with video work. And so on top of grading some stuff and getting things taken care of there, just that planning kind of fell by the wayside as some of that video stuff took precedent. But we're here, and we've got some stuff to go over with you. And the joy is that some of this stuff we already talked about as a class. Now, granted, it was months ago, so I'll quickly refresh some things. But if you guys remember, we left off in the middle of a project in March that we never got a chance to finish. And that was our long-form documentary project. And that's a shame because some of you guys had some really great ideas, and that was coming together in a really interesting way, and we were able to incorporate our 3-point lighting and using the wireless mic, so it sounded really good. And obviously, circumstantially, that's all changed now. But I wanted to try and revisit the concept of that project, that being a documentary, and seeing if there's a way to translate it to doing something at home. And there is, of course. It's just going to be a simplified version of what we've been doing, but some of those same principles and things are going to apply. So I have some examples to show you guys today, as far as some professional examples and some student examples. And the one I was trying to find was a video. It's a documentary about shooting B-roll. So it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing because all documentaries have B-roll, and it's really cleverly done, and the actor in it is really funny. And so, we talked about documentary filmmaking, in the beginning of, end of February, March. I don't remember at this point. It's been so long. So, you guys are more than familiar with this screen that's up there now, because we went through this in class back in February, March. And so I've updated a few things for my TV1 classes because they will also be doing this project. So I apologize if the wording, isn't too different for you folks. But I'm not going to go through all of this again. We already took a look at, what documentaries are. I did want to touch upon the common themes, but I don't need to show you the different examples. We did that in class, and a lot of this should look familiar to you. I do want to get to the student examples, however, as I thought they were very, very well done. And that might alleviate some of the, what's been done in the past? What can I make this look like? Of course, going over the project guidelines with you. And so just some of the things I just want you to kind of refresh us on, as far as things to include in this documentary are interviews, of course, right? Because they are the mainstay and the driving force behind what we're seeing and the information that we're getting from your documentary, right? Those talking heads, as they're referred to, as well as the use of B-roll. And I keep forgetting this is not playing, it's just there. B-roll is the use of any type of clip that you cut away to during the course of an interview to show something visually while someone is talking underneath it. And we know it gets its name from the B unit on a film team that would go out and shoot supplemental footage or secondary footage on the B camera crew, and that B camera has a B-roll that captures that film, and so it became known as the B-roll, and that's why it has that name today. And So I wanted to, kind of just touch upon that stuff quickly as a refresher for you, because I'm sure you guys remember those concepts, and even just hearing about them loosely now probably goes, oh yeah, of course I know what that is. And so I wanted to spend some time going over the project worksheet that we're going to start today. It'll be due next class. This is our pre-production worksheet, as well as the project outline, which will let you know what I'm looking for in the project and some of the stipulations there. And then I want to get into some of these student examples for you as well, and pray that YouTube doesn't flag this video for later, because it flagged my other one with the nature documentary that I showed. So fingers crossed that these videos will be okay. And if I ever find a copy of that B-roll documentary, it's like 5-6 minutes long, but it's really funny. I'll share it with you guys because I think it's worth watching. It's a great example of what B-roll is, but also how to shoot that B-roll. And it's tongue in cheek again. It's using B-roll in a documentary about B-roll. So I'll see if I can find it. I did actually find it here, but can I get a good copy of it? We'll see. Because I would like to experience watching it with you guys. And Caitlin's here. Hello. I have the YouTube video here. I just can't play it because then you guys won't hear it. So as I try and find this, maybe we can get it to go. I'd be very thrilled. I don't know what the quality is going to look like. Probably buns, right? Unfortunately. But let's see here. And so that's the other hiccup that I'm going to have today, is that while I would normally have these videos queued up in my PowerPoint presentation, which I do, I can't play them back there because you guys won't hear anything. And so I've got to take a minute to look at my computer screen and load those videos into my broadcaster. So I apologize for those little hiccups. Let's see if this will actually work the right way. I'd be thrilled if it did. Open. All right, so hopefully this plays back well. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's just a quick way to kind of refresh ourselves on what B-roll is. The whole thing is tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of done comedically. And so there is some information in there that's not 100% accurate as far as how B-roll originated. But I don't know. I thought it'd be fun to play. So enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side for some student examples of some stuff. Well, actually, we'll go through our project, and then I'll show you some student examples. So enjoy a short little documentary on B-roll.
The Oregon Coast tree system is long revered as some of the best trees in this part of the continent of North America. You know, as a B-roll artist, there's lots of places I've been, but this drive from the Willamette Valley all the way to the Oregon coast, there's nothing that's much more beautiful than that drive. I'm liking this bridge. We're gonna get the jib, we're gonna go up. It's probably the most difficult part of putting together your jib. Lining up the holes. That is a male end, right? There we go. Took me a while. The reason I choose this bridge here behind me is because I've never seen anybody else shoot B-roll of it. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I do everything I can to do things the proper way, get my proper releases signed, pay the money for the permits to film in places, but gosh, when you live in a place that's as beautiful as this, there's nothing that's gonna get in your way, because you're passionate about what you do. You know, you wanna go film B-roll. You got websites popping up everywhere you can get your stock footage up on and make a little extra residual income. Quite frankly, though, that's what's the benefit of being here, is because nobody knows about this spot. So, heck, if I was supposed to pay a fee, that's probably the federal government, right? Oh, fudge! Behind us, we've got a nice train track. That's where we're gonna try out a slider shot. So I've scoped out a nice spot. That's where we're at right now. And for this shot, I'm choosing to utilize a slider. Let's see how this one does. However, when I'm really wanting to get a natural, organic look at my shots, I go with the Philip Bloom wood grain slider. I don't think it's real wood, but could fool me with it. I could talk all day about this. But let's look at them side by side, see if you can tell the difference. Smells like sea lions. Some people hate that smell. Some people almost even throw up if they smell it. Look where I am now. I mean, I've got an amazing career. I love what I do, and I love coming back. I mean, it reminds me of my childhood, how I got here. Ugh. Someone tightened it so hard. Well, let me tell you a story. You might want to ask me, where did the term B-roll come from? So back in '84, I was driving a grip truck for Paramount. And bright idea. Grip truck driver kid wants to become a cinematographer. I steal one of the cameras from the back of the truck. I go out on my own, shoot all this amazing footage, and they're like, wow, blows their minds. From that day on, that's when they started calling it B-roll. Because my last name's Rollins. My first name is Barry. Barry Rollins. So that's my nickname isn't from B-roll. I made B-roll. Okay? Well, we've made it to one of my favorite spots in the whole world. We're gonna wait for that sun to get a little low. We're gonna get some more B-roll shots. Once again, just like I did before, choosing the Philip Bloom signature with the wood grain finish, just to get that extra tone, earth tone. What the Where's the base plate? Who took the base plate off of that? When you're a good B-roll shooter, you're always thinking on your feet. I mean, I got my jib here, got my backpack with me, we're on the beach and there's thousands of rocks. So, it's easier than using weights, I just put some rocks in the bag and I get it to the tension that I like. Today's been a successful day of shooting B-roll. I've got one more shot left in me. Check it out.
The Music Bed.
All right, so obviously tongue-in-cheek, but like a little mini documentary about someone that shoots B-roll while featuring lots of B-roll. But there was a lot of mixed styles there, right? And he was addressing the camera informally. There was like quasi-formal interviews where he was actually positioned to like be interviewed. Granted, he was kneeling in a street, but you know, it blended a lot of types, and he was kind of funny to listen to. So he was completely incorrect about how B-roll got its name, though. Disregard that bit of information. But again, hopefully that's just a quick comedic refresher on what B-roll is. And so let's get into our project, all right, which is, like I said, it's going to be a documentary film. However, unlike what we were doing in class before, this one's going to be autobiographical, meaning it's going to be about you and whatever aspect of your life you want to talk about or cover. And in the examples that I'm going to show you, and we'll take a look at one professional one and two student examples, this could be anything from, you know, like birth until now. It could be your high school career. It could be your athletic career. So Ryan, if you wanted to do a documentary on, you know, how you got into playing hockey, awesome. Like, do that. That would be fantastic. It could be as narrow or specific or as general as you want it to be, as long as it's about your life. And so let's bounce over to the old desktop here. Oh, ignore the TV production one. I am doing this project with them as well. And so I just reused the assets for that project. So for this, we're going to use documentary filmmaking style as a way to do a short biography on yourselves. Like I said, this could be, you know, birth till now, or a specific incident that was significant in shaping who you are, or maybe a specific hobby or interest that you're into. In the past, I've had students do this on, oh my God, so many things. I had a student one year do it on how they suffered an injury or illness when they were like very little, and what it was like overcoming that. I've had students do it on someone who's currently living with I don't want to mispronounce the name of the disease. Well, she had a disease that is she's able to live, obviously, but like there's some hardships there, and she wanted to talk about what that was like. I've had someone do it on what it's like being colorblind and going through school. I've had someone do it on they were a twin and they wanted to talk about the misconceptions of being a twin, because everyone thinks one thing but it's really different. I've had people do it on their athletic careers, their hobbies, interests. Like, it really can run the gamut on whatever it is that you want to talk about. And so here are the guidelines. Here are the musts, the mays, and the may nots. All right. Just like our last project proved, you guys are all very unique with a very unique skill set and background and history and life, and point of view and perspective and thoughts and feelings. Your title should reflect that. All right. So please don't call this TV3 documentary project. I know that that's what it is. Give it a unique title. And Ryan, make sure that title is spelled correctly. Runtime is going to be 3 to 5 minutes. So it's a little bit longer than the last one. A lot of people for the last project asked if they can go over the time limit. And then we were able to work on some stuff for that. So if you feel like you're running a little bit long, okay, but we obviously want to make sure that it's long for a reason. If it's 7 minutes long, but I feel like, well, you could have taken 2 minutes out of this easily, that's going to hurt you a little bit more. So if you are running long, reach out to me and let me know where we're at, so I have an idea and I can guide you to maybe trim that down a little bit more if it warrants it. You're going to have a combination of photos and video for your B-roll. All right, which can fall into one of 3 categories, and I'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to our worksheet. The video must be combinations of things that you shot yourself, things that already exist, and again, I will talk about that on our worksheet. All right, you need to have a minimum of 2 interviews, okay? Music that accents your story, lower thirds for your interview subjects, and God bless WeVideo, because this is the one area where it's a little bit simpler than in Premiere. Lower thirds have some presets in WeVideo, which makes it a little bit easier for you. And then, of course, scrolling credits, as you may have some people to thank and things like that. All right. You may stage B-roll if it helps. All right. Meaning and I'm just going to pick on Ryan here, if he wanted to do something involving his hockey career, maybe he has a net in his driveway and he'll throw in some blades and he'll practice there. If you want to go and do that and then, prop a camera up and get some shots of you skating and shooting and things like that, cool. Like, stage that B-roll so that way later, if you're talking about it, you've got footage that you can cut to. All right. You can use a narration or voiceover if it helps, as some of you did in your how-to videos. And that was really, really great. And you can, of course, be a talking head yourself. So if you need to have 2 interviews, you can be one of those interviews, all right, which I would strongly recommend, as who can better talk about you and your life than you. But also, it's going to make it a little bit easier for that other requirement to find one more person as opposed to finding 2 people. All right. And if anyone has any issues with that requirement, please reach out and let me know. If you're like, Mr. Leonard, I don't like, this was the one requirement that I know is going to be a little difficult for some people, right? If you've got like siblings or family that doesn't mind being on camera, great, and they'll help you out. That's wonderful. But if you can't or you don't, then let's reach out and talk about what that solution could be together. Just know that it might mean you have to be one of those 2 interviews. But reach out if that becomes an issue for you. All right. What you may not do, and both of these things are born from what students have done in the past when they shouldn't have. Don't turn this into a mockumentary. This is supposed to be real and truthful and honest to you and your life. Don't turn it into something it's not and make a joke of everything. It should speak about who you are and what you've done and, what you're interested in, what you've gone through, all that stuff. All right. And don't act in the interview as different people. So, Nick, don't throw on a fake mustache and pretend to be your dad and talk about you, because that's not very authentic either. So, that kind of thing we can't do. The tips I'll leave for you guys to read later, but the project for us is going to be due on Friday, June 12th. So just to give you an idea what that looks like on the calendar, okay, because today is the 28th. So we've got 2 full weeks and tomorrow to get this done. And given that it's roughly the same amount of time that we had for our last project, we should be okay. And since your guiding force in this is going to be your interviews, you kind of want to put some attention to that first. That's going to help you get to that runtime really easily. If you've got good interviews, the length is not going to be a problem. If anything, you might need to make it longer to include everything you want to include from those interviews, okay? So the assignment that's posted today, and I'm going to talk about it next, is going to be due at the end of next class, which is Monday, all right? Now, here's the only other oddball part of this. Monday's an A-day, as is Wednesday and Friday, and so is Tuesday and Thursday of the following week. So I will see you guys on a class stream for any post-production help on the 11th, all right? But the project is still due for you guys on the 12th. My logic was I could make it due on the 11th, but I'm realistically not going to grade anything until the 13th, so I figured I'd give you that extra day if you need that time. Now, my only stipulation, and I'm coming back to this camera to make sure that it's very, very, very clearly stated, is that June 12th is going to be the last day for anything to come in, okay? If projects come in after June 12th, they're going to be late and they're going to be hit hard, all right? The reason why June 12th needs to be the last day is that our last week of school is the week after, all right? And I need to make sure that grades are in and posted, okay, by the end of school. Without finals, we don't have that little extra time that we might normally have, all right? I got to post grades as soon as possible, and I'm going to start with your class because I have more seniors here, and so if there are seniors that are on that line, those grades need to be finalized. So June 12th is the absolute latest I can take this, all right? And if you just put yourself in my shoes, all right, I'm not saying it's time consuming, it's not difficult, and I don't mind doing it, but if every one of my students does a 3-minute documentary, that's 130 times 3 minutes. That's a lot of time just in watching them. That's not critiquing, giving feedback, sharing things with you, which of course I'm going to do, all right? And then the 2 times that we'll meet that last week of school, we'll take a look at some. You know, we'll be able to spend a little bit of time together virtually before we kind of hang up our hat for the school year and everyone goes on their merry way for the summer. So just know that June 12th is the date, and I will make sure that every time we stream, you're going to hear June 12th is the date a dozen times. All right? So the worksheet that's posted for you is going to be very similar to the one that went up for our long form, our research-based documentary. The difference here is that obviously your treatment is going to be a little bit less research papery and a little bit more personal autobiographical. All right? So it's broken into 2 pages, so the description of what each section is up top. The part that you're going to fill out is down at the bottom. So you don't need to erase any of this and add stuff. You're going to fill out the bottom part here. So your treatment, all right, I have listed as a half-page summary of what your documentary will be about specifically, okay? So you cannot say, my documentary is going to be about my life. I know that. I want to know about what parts of your life. So please, please, please make sure you're being specific here. If it means that you're getting a little lengthy, get lengthy. It's going to, like, I should read this and know exactly what your documentary is about without needing to see it. That's how detailed this should be. All right? If it's vague, I'm going to send it back to you and let you know I don't know what you're talking about. All right? You need to break this down and be very specific. All right, what aspects of the topic are you going to cover? What is your story? What is the tone? All right, your interview questions or your interview shortlist, which is going to be names of people you want to talk to, all right, as well as the questions you're going to ask them, all right, comes down below. Now, this might start off as, these are the people that I'm hoping to talk to. And as you figure that out and figure out questions for them, make sure you reach out to these people and say, hey, Mom, could I interview you for my project? Because if you put Mom down and have some great questions for her and then she says no, that's no good. You kind of want to let these people know and tell them, hey, it's for a school project, and can you help me out? Are you willing to be on camera? And most parents, I feel, would be really open to kind of gushing about their child in a positive way. So, that could be a really good thing, and a fun thing for them to do as well. And plus, when this project's done and they go, hey, you interviewed me, could I see the final edit? Like that could be a really cool moment to share with them. So that's going to go here, put their names in here and the questions that you're going to ask them. Make sure they are open-ended questions. All right, we don't want one-word answers. We want to make sure it's guided a little bit. And so you want to kind of put them in a position to be able to talk about you in a deep and meaningful way. All right, locations is just, where are you going to shoot at? And most of this might be around your house, and that's perfectly fine. All right, if you're going to be in the backyard, throw it in there. If you have a park around the corner, cool, do it there. Put that down on the list. The B-roll list is going to be a little bit more thorough, as you can kind of break it down categorically. So you kind of want to look at archival footage, like things that already exist that you can use. All right. So if, for example, if you're talking about what you do when you hang out with your friends and some of the stuff that you like to do together, I have no doubt that you probably have some video clips on your phone of you guys goofing around and hanging out. Use that stuff, okay? If you're going to do, if Ryan's getting into his hockey career and his mom or dad or someone has a clip of him playing on their phone, get that from them. The stuff that you want to shoot yourself, okay, which does not include your interviews. Remember, interviews are not B-roll. That's going to be the things that you say, okay, I don't have this, I need to go shoot it, and I can go do that. That list will go there as well. And if there's anything that you want to try and borrow, from YouTube and you can download that, go for it. That's fine too, but you want to put that list there as well. Music is just, you don't necessarily need to have the specific song and artist. If you don't know ahead of time. If you do, great. You might know right away that this song is going to fit perfectly with what you want. Throw it in there. But think about mood and tone of your piece. Is this an upbeat and happy piece? Is this a low-key and chill piece? Is this I'm going to get into something really personal, and so I want to find some, slower, maybe sadder music to fit that. Start to get those ideas down here. All right, and that's the last little bit. Okay, so this is the worksheet that's going to be due by the end of next class. So what we can do now is get into, some of those student examples to show you what's been done. I'm going to gloss over the professional example. I had a 3-minute biography on James Dean that was really simple. It was, the B-roll was mostly pictures. There were some interviews and there was a voiceover. So I might share that. I'll share all the links on Classroom later if I can get them uploaded. I got to reach out to some of these students that have graduated already and see if I can use their stuff like that. In class, it's not a problem, but if I have to put it online, that might present an issue. So let me load up the first one here. Whew. Okay. So the first one, I think you will obviously see the direction that this person chose to go. And they did everything really, really well. There's good energy here, and interviews are meaningful. So without further ado, you can learn a little bit about this gentleman, Spencer Wattenberg.
I'm Spencer Wattenberg, and this is my story. My parents have always been there for me, basically, obviously, my whole life.
Spencer is a funny kid. I mean, everybody's always told me how funny he is. All his friends always say, wow, Spencer, you're the funniest kid I know. He's also, he's a nonconformist. And what I mean by that is that, he's one of those kids that like to do things that not everybody else does. For example, he loves to dance. And not a lot of boys, obviously, are dancers. He's one of those kids that he'll do whatever he wants to do. If he enjoys it, he's gonna do it. He doesn't really listen to peer pressure or anything like that. I mean, that's Spencer. Spencer's also really focused. So if there's something that he enjoys doing, He's going to focus on that and only that.
When I was 8 years old, my mom put me into dance classes at Perna Dance Center. And ever since then, my life has changed completely. Dancing has just like changed my life forever. I just love it so much. It's one of my main passions.
In TV production, we were doing a project with Spencer, and we were in the auditorium, and we had to pick up Kayla by her legs, and every time I'd try to pick her up, I couldn't pick her up and pull her, and Spencer would yell at me. Every project we've done, it's just been a roller coaster because he's just so incredibly funny, and his personality is, just awesome.
He's just like, I don't know, like his character is really goofy and funny, and he always brings like a smile to my face and always makes everything so much fun, so I enjoyed spending time with him, and it's been a short time, but I hope we have a long time ahead of us.
But when I was going into high school, when I became a freshman, I realized that although dancing is my passion, or one of my passions, I wanted to go to another hobby. So I joined the drama club when I came to high school, and I auditioned for the plays, and I got in. Again, I made so many good relationships with so many good people that I'll never forget.
When it comes to fun times with Spencer, I mean, most of our fun times are because we have a lot in common. So, we enjoy seeing plays together because we both love theater. So those are some of the fun times that we spend together, going to see Broadway shows, going to see local community theater. We'll see anything as long as it's a play, or especially musicals. I mean, he really enjoys musicals, as do I. So those are the kind of things that we love doing.
My friends, I can't even put into words what my friends mean to me, especially Emily and Sarah. Sarah is not only one of my best friends, but she's also more like a sister to me. We just hang out almost every weekend, and we just have the best times. Emily's like my best friend in the whole world. Although we don't hang out as much as me and Sarah do, we have so much in common. We like the same people, we hate the same people, and we both dance at Perna. I don't even know what I'd do without my family and friends. They are what keep me together. They are what keep me one piece, basically. And I love them so much.
All right, so what I really like about that is that it hits every aspect of like the project requirements perfectly. All right, there's 2 interviews. He's one of them. He interviewed his mom. He interviewed some friends from school, which obviously was a little bit easier to do back then. So he kind of hit that threshold really well. Great use of B-roll, and you notice when he was talking about things, he would cut away to video clips or pictures of his friends. And so if you've got photos, that makes for good B-roll as well. And I'm going to load the next one up here. The pace of the edit was really strong. Like that was a really tight edit. Like it didn't feel as long as it really was because of how quickly he changed subjects or talked about something. And so that was really, really cool to see. And so the next one, I've selected because stylistically, he does some really interesting and cool things here. This was a documentary done by a former student, Derek Reyes. I believe he graduated last year or 2 years ago. But it's excellently done and, provides some good alternatives to some things that you can see here. So enjoy that, and then we'll wrap up class on the other side.
This is Derek Reyes. He's a young aspiring filmmaker who lives in Hazlet, New Jersey. He loves video games, anime, and is completely normal.
He's weird.
He has a dog named Knuckles and even has a little brother named Daniel. But enough about him. Derek was born in Manhattan on June 6, 1999. Since the day he was born, he's always been kind of a nerd. But he doesn't mind. He's proud to be considered a nerd. He believes you should be able to enjoy the things you love without ever being ridiculed for them. He loves coffee, his dog, and his family. He truly is your average Hazlet citizen. Derek lived in New York City for a very large amount of time in his life, but in late 2011 he moved to the small town of Hazlet, New Jersey. While he wouldn't call it the most interesting town in the world, he wouldn't say it's the most boring. While it's not perfect, Derek is enjoying his time here. When Derek is not playing on his ukulele, he's hanging out with his friends, playing video games and Dungeons & Dragons. Derek's main goal in life is to become a filmmaker. Derek has been spending most of his time on his creative works, making videos for his YouTube channel and his TV production classes. And while some of them are better than others, he's going to be trying to make them better and better.
What did you just say?
I said 15 million, sir.
Oh, is that so? Kidnap his daughter.
Got it, sir.
Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so, baby, please don't go.
I think that Derek is a very creative young individual. I think that he has a lot of ideas and ways of wanting to express himself. I think that he has some ways to go in terms of being able to capture the audience that he's looking to capture, because over time it becomes difficult to get your ideas out there, even though I think he has the potential to be very talented and impress a lot of people.
From what I've seen, he's really good at editing, and his shots are pretty decent. Definitely with some training and better equipment, I think he could make it pretty far.
He's also in the Global Communications Club, so shout out to those guys. You may have even seen Derek in such classics as the second season of School Detective as student in line number 2. Look at him go.
He's always been a very creative young man. Even when he was very little, he liked doing a lot of things. He liked going to parks. He liked going to museums with me, going to the movies. He's always loved cartoons and electronics and computers, which is a field that I'm also in.
He's always been a very curious child. Always wanted to know what was anything that was around him. If it was a paper, he wanted to know what it was, a toy or anything. You know, he was very curious to know what things were, how they worked.
Did I mention that he likes coffee? A lot.
My earliest memory with him was about when he was, I believe, 6 years old, and he would come to my house a lot with his mom, and we would just hang out together. Even though he's my cousin, he's more like a brother to me, so it's a very strong relationship in itself.
Some of the fondest memories I remember having with Derek are when we used to go visit his grandmother, my mother, and the time he used to spend with me and her during the weekends when he would be there, or during the week during the summer, etc., or when he would spend time with me when I was on the computer when we still lived in the city.
I think maybe my earliest memory is my most recent, which is when he decided to start growing out his afro, and I'm never going to forget that.
Even though Derek isn't here right now, here's what many of his close family members would say if he was.
You're weird because he's weird.
What you're doing is great with this whole movie thing, Derek, and I think you should definitely pursue it because, like I said, you're doing really good so far. So definitely go with that, and whatever you put your mind to, I know you can do, and remember that the whole family's here for you when you need them.
I would tell him that I love him and that I hope he is successful in whatever it is that he wants to do in his life.
Did you do your homework? Did you take a shower? Did you brush your teeth this morning?
I love you very much, and I just want you to be happy in everything you do in life, and do it with passion and conviction, and just put your all into anything you do in life, and you won't ever fail.
Nobody knows what the future will entail for Derek, but that's only up for him to decide.
All right, I'm gonna get out of his credits a little early just to make sure we save on some time here. But really great job in blending your interviews, your voiceover, and narration. I think that's one of the strongest parts of this piece is that the interviews supplement the voiceover. Voiceover explains a little bit what we see and why we're seeing it. Otherwise, there would be no context. But he seamlessly hops between having a voiceover and going to an interview, or using the voiceover to set up what is said in an interview. And I think if you're really smart about that voiceover script, right, if you map that out, then you can do that in your piece as well. So that's all I wanted to spend time going over with today, and I know that was a lot. And thankfully, a lot of the stuff as far as the documentary aspect of filmmaking is concerned, we have gone over already in class. And so that little refresher on B-roll, and then, of course, the project stipulations and guidelines are all there for us in this video as well, and some student examples too. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to conclude our video soon. All right. Reminder that the pre-production worksheet is going to be due at the end of next class. All right. So I'll be there to help with, any issues or obstacles that you're coming across in completing that. I can answer any more questions that come up between now and then. And, we can start to figure out, okay, once this comes in, I can look over things with you, right? If you turn it in the beginning of class, if you turn it in tomorrow, pop in and say, hey, Mr. Leonard, I turned in that assignment. Can you look over it real quick while you're here? And that way I can offer some insight and suggestions on things that we either may need to tweak or just think about as you move forward into production. All right, and then we'll kind of follow the same schedule we did last time, where the first few days will be dedicated pre-production or production days, and the other 2 days will be dedicated editing days. Essentially, I will be available on stream for you guys to get some help from, one-on-one if you need it. So that time's available for you. Jalen, so we have been using a program called WeVideo. It's been covered in class a whole bunch. We've done 2 projects in it, so I'd have to go back and figure out which class stream had the instructions for that tutorial. But if you go through the Google Classroom stream, you're going to see a post that has your login credentials for that platform. Right? WeVideo is an online web-based video editor that you can access from your Chromebook. You can even access parts of it from your phone. But WeVideo.com, you've been given a login and password because I enrolled every one of my students back in April. So those credentials are posted. I can't say what they are because then anyone could, in theory, access the account, and I won't know it's not you. So let me see if I can pull it up here. I don't want to show it, but I can give you an idea as to what to look for. April 12. Okay, so I'm looking at the Google Classroom stream, and I'm going to block out the password and information there for you. But, oops, I got to move it over here, sorry. On the Google Classroom stream for our class, some of the videos that were posted back in the beginning of April, so April 7th I have it. I've got the login info down there. I can't show the password because I don't want it to be on the stream. But there are some more links. This was all before spring break. This one is just a link to that video. So if you want to find the April 7th video here, it should go over some stuff in WeVideo, and then we continue that a little bit later. Oops. The password was there. And so the information as far as how to get into that and then how to use it are up on YouTube for you. If you're able to get a hold of Premiere. Yeah, absolutely. And so that was open to anyone too, Jalen. Just after the first project, I wanted people to experience WeVideo as just so they can learn it and go through the tutorials with us. And I know some people in class do have access to Premiere. And so if they did the WeVideo tutorial and said, okay, I know how to use this, but I have Premiere, I'm going to use that instead, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, if you have a means to, if you have Premiere or the ability to get it, yeah, go for it, definitely. I don't want to, force you to use a certain tool. I just know a lot of people don't have the ability to have it at home or only have a Chromebook at home. And so WeVideo is a way to edit on your Chromebook in a browser. But if you've got Premiere, then yes, absolutely, you can use that because I know you know how to use that already. So it might make things a little bit simpler for you. So sure, absolutely, 100%, go for it. All right, so if there are any more questions, throw them in there. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up our class stream for the day. We'll be back on Monday to help you guys out with the assignment. That'll be due at the end of class, or to go over it with you if you want to turn it in, and then we can look at it together, move through some of your ideas and see what works and what I can offer some suggestions on. Then we can do that as well. And then we're going to shift back to our production and post-production streams for troubleshooting, help, questions, answers, things like that. All right. So I'm going to bring my mic down. I'm going to hang for another 2 minutes. If you got questions, throw them in there. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up right around 11 or 12:50. Can I use iMovie? Yeah, no, Allison, again, yeah. If you want to use iMovie, go for it. Like I said, it was just the first project. I wanted everyone to get some experience with WeVideo for their practice video, so that they understood it as an alternative. I had some TV1 students, and granted, they don't have the same level of experience or time in Premiere. They're like, oh, some of them like it better than Premiere because it's a little bit easier for them to use. Obviously, with that ease of use, you remove some of the flexibility that you have. But I know you had mentioned that WeVideo was causing some hiccups. Yeah, so if you have iMovie, go for it. Right, all editors are tools. They just all work a little bit differently. If you know how to use one, you can quickly adapt to another. So if you've got the means to use another editing program, go for it. That is absolutely not a problem. Heck, I know iMovie's on your phone. I don't know how much I would like editing on my phone, something of this magnitude, especially when you need multi-track editing, right? Like you're going to need to be able to show an interview and then put video on top of it to cut away to for your B-roll. I don't know if you can even do that in iMovie on your phone. I'm sure you can do it in iMovie for, like on a computer, but I know you can do it in WeVideo. I know you can do it in Premiere and all the other editors that I've been using. I might switch this summer. I'm thinking about getting out of Adobe. All right, so as we close up for the day, I hope the project instructions for you were clear and you've got a good idea of what it is that's expected of you, but also, what it is that you want to discuss and talk about. Whether it's your hockey career, your basketball career, your crayon art career, or your artistic career, your music career, like all those things are so interesting and unique to you, and that perspective from you guys is going to be really fun to watch on my end as well. And I'm hopefully you find that because it's so personal that you get attached to what you're doing and enjoy it a little bit more. So we'll touch base again on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Put some thought into this project. June 12th, all right, is the last day to get it in. It's not an A-day, all right, so you have a little bit of extra time. But if you have any questions about things between now and next class, reach out through email, let me know. Otherwise, the assignment and worksheet for the project are on Classroom, and I will see you guys all on Monday. Thank you so much for being here to watch our stream today, and I look forward to working with you guys on this project over the next 2+ weeks. All right, I'll talk to you later. See ya.